Welcome back, guys. This is the Devil's Eyes podcast, episode 2. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me is Jarrett Bailey, and we come to you on a spoiler. And I can't stress this enough. This is a spoiler-heavy Halloween Kills reaction review, talking a little bit about Halloween Ends, obviously with that ending.
Yeah.
So get the heck out of here if you have not seen this movie yet. Like, we really appreciate you supporting, but if you have not seen the movie yet, we do not want to be the person that, or the two people that spoil this for you. This is definitely a treat. It's an event. Really much enjoyed this. I think you and I both did. So we're going to get into that. Before we do, be sure to follow the Devil's Eyes podcast at Devil's Eyes Pod, and be sure to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, wherever you are, to let us know that you like the show. So, episode 2, I'm going to give you the floor, Jarrett. Where do we go from here on this one? What were your thoughts on this this Halloween Kills? Because you and I were both very excited for this.
Yeah, man. It was worth the year wait. I will say that, man. It was absolutely phenomenal. Now, like we said pre-show, there were things that I didn't like, obviously. I mean, there's very rarely going to be a movie where I have zero gripes about it. There were things I didn't like, but overall, man, like this is just the perfect second movie in a trilogy. And I think we talked about this pre-show too. That's something that a lot of people just aren't realizing. They're kind of trying to treat this as its own standalone movie. Guys, we're waiting for the third movie, which is set to come out October 14th of next year. So it was just kind of this nice little segue to get us to a third movie, but it didn't compromise the story either. And I liked how, 2018 was, okay, it's more story based. Like, Michael's still going to be brutal and everything, but we're trying to set the scene for this whole trilogy. And then the second movie is like, all right, we're going to give everybody who wants to see a slasher movie, we're going to give them a slasher movie. Michael Myers is going to kill everybody. So I think it was a perfect second movie in that regard, where the story was still there, but they amplified the kills. Hence the name. I mean, it's called Halloween Kills, and it lived up to that. So in terms of where we're going, man, that ending, I'm still holding on to the fact that they're going to retcon it and Karen's not going to be dead, because God damn it, I don't want her to be dead. I really don't want her to be dead.
So I'm going to stop you there. I actually love the ending. I think the ending's perfect.
Okay.
I think, what's up, Frankie? You didn't miss anything. We just started. So anyway, yeah. I think the ending's perfect. They had to carve, I mean, I didn't mean the pun there, but you got my point. They had to carve a pathway for, Allison to take over that Laurie Strode mantle. Does that make sense? Like,
that makes perfect sense in the way that you put that. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't mean to make a pun there.
Yes, I got it.
But for real, because I just feel like, and I said this immediately with the first movie, I'm like, I was surprised they kept her alive to begin with. Because the thing with Karen is that her time is past. I think this is what the movie's saying, is her time is past to be the Laurie Strode of this franchise. Sure. She's just not. So someone big had to get killed, as Julio is saying in the comments.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was Karen, to be honest with you. I love Judy Greer. It has nothing against her.
I do too.
I thought Karen's character was obnoxious in this movie.
First
off, I mean, I want to understand, she's a mother. I get that. Doesn't want her kid going out. I'm not necessarily against her being against that. What I'm against her with is how stupid she was at the end, or how stupid the movie made her, because I honestly think that's her character. I think she was that stupid at the end, where what it comes down to is this. Okay, you have the heroic moment with the pitchfork, which I know you were probably in the theater or wherever you saw this, and you're like, that's going to get used at some point. They did not. I mean, they were not subtle about that, right? They're like, oh, he picked
Big John just be like, next time I'm using the pitchfork.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think he's going to use that. I thought Michael was going to.
I thought he was too.
I wish we could place like live bets on it, right? And just about like, who do you think is going to use the pitchfork? No, but
I'm going to parlay this. I'm just going to say it's Michael on Little John. That's plus 220 odds. I'll throw a 20 on it.
Oh man. Well, so I love that. I love that scene in the movie where she stands up, she becomes this badass mom, takes a pitchfork, stabs Michael in the back, and saves her daughter. Here's the issue. She gets the mask. I don't have an issue with that, because it's leading into this trap, right? But first off, my biggest issue, not necessarily with that, but why do people in these movies continuously go into the backyards of places and have to weave in and out? When if you just ran down the street, he's never catching you. Like, it's not like It Follows. Like if you ever saw that movie,
Yes.
that thing doesn't stop chasing you, but it's slow. Also, like Michael would just eventually not keep chasing you. Like It Follows would keep chasing you. Like you would die because over time it would not stop following you. But Michael Myers would just be like, all right, I'll just kill someone else. Like I'm not running after you. You know, they never go straight down the road. They always have to go weave their way in and out of like these fences and stuff. Cracks me up every time. Like the crevice and then she hides. So after she ran away from him and like she was like second guessing, she's like, do I want to like lure him into this trap? I think now I'm gonna hide. I'm like, no, Michael theoretically should never kill you unless he gets the drop on you.
Yep.
Or you're dumb and you hide. Like, why are you hiding? That's what makes him like, like he's the Shape. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, to make a long story short, she leads him into the road. You know, you have the whole big scene. Tommy was like every small town, you know, wannabe hero at their local bar who's got his own little, you know, beer mug sitting there waiting for him. I mean, it was laughable how pathetic his life had become because they really were like, he was holding out his whole life on killing Michael. You could see. And I think this is a really good point to what Michael Myers is for Haddonfield. Haddonfield, yes, is supposed to simulate any sort of, you know, suburban, small town, you know, that type of deal. However, it also shows you that somebody like Michael Myers isn't just a killer. Like he is haunting them while he had been, you know, in that mental institution for years. He's still haunting Tommy. So I think they really wanted to drive that point. They also wanted to drive the point home that, you know, with that mob, that scene where they beat the crap out of him in the street, it kind of shows you that they became him. They became the dark, brutalizing people. And, you know, it showed kind of what he was still tormenting Haddonfield even while he's dying there on the ground. But, you know, he's not dead. And I don't know personally if Judy Greer's Karen could have killed him, but to not like finish the job there, I thought was dumb. That's not even the stupid part. She goes into his window. I mean, this, like, what are you doing? I just don't know why she was even in the house. I don't know why they didn't get Allison off the steps. I don't know why they weren't back at the hospital. It's just, there's so much there. Like, she deserved to die because of how stupid she was in that moment. And that's why I thought the ending was perfect. And I will say lastly, before I send this over to you, Jarrett, you have to help me find that song, man. That is the greatest, that turn when it got like really eerie. And then it was like, dun, dun, dun. Like, I'm like, what is that? Because I literally went all through the James Carpenter soundtrack. That is nowhere on the soundtrack. So like, I'm pissed because I want that thing. That was a banger. Also, the soundtrack was a banger. Now it's your turn.
So, and I think Scott said it in the comments. One thing that did kind of bother me was how everybody's saying strength in numbers, but let's split up into smaller, easy killable groups.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know.
And in terms of another thing that I maybe didn't like too much, Evil Dies Tonight was a cool slogan. They said it about 900 times throughout the hour 45 long movie. So that was a little bit overdone.
Did you hear that Evil Dies
Evil
Tonight?
Dies. Did you hear? It's like, I'm trying to think of, like, if somebody's like, if you're like entering a church and like you're handing out pamphlets, it's like, you know, Evil Dies Tonight and Evil Dies Tonight. Yeah, something like that. But no, I understand that somebody big did have to die, or this would have kind of felt flat. But I'm not gonna believe that she's 100% dead until the movie comes out. Just because we thought Hawkins was dead, they kind of retconned that a little bit to where he was still alive. Did they confirm Karen's dead?
They did, because there was this theory going around all over YouTube. People were doing breakdown videos and they're like, if you see this small panning right there, it shows that she's actually dreaming. I'm like, no,
I don't know, dude.
If
it was look, I'm gonna trust Danny McBride and David Gordon Green enough to know that this wasn't a damn dream sequence. For the love of God,
Jason Blum confirmed that she is absolutely dead. And Judy Greer, I didn't know this, and I'm glad. I don't know if you knew it either. But whoever did know it, because there were people in the comment section last time we did it, she confirmed that she died before the movie came out. She spoiled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she?
So I'm glad to, to our listeners and our interactive, people in the comments, because I know one of you people saw that, and I appreciate you not dropping that and spoiling it for us, because I didn't know that. So
yeah, okay, well that well then she's dead.
Yeah,
and like I mean, look, I love Judy Greer. I thought she was really good. There were some, yeah, you pointed out the kind of lack of brain power moments that she had. I think a lot of people assumed. Me too. Like as soon as I saw her look up into the window and she starts walking in, I'm like, oh no, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't. But one thing that a few people did mention, man, that flashback scene, those flashback scenes they did that as well as they possibly could have. The light
mask was perfect.
The mask was great. It was grainy. Like it looked like a 1970s movie. One thing was kind of stupid though. When the cop pulls up to Lonnie and the Mulaney's, and he's like, guys, you need to get home. There's a serial killer. Then he drives away. Like, what cop would be like, get in my car right now? You're not safe. He's just like, hey, get home. And just skirts on out of there. Like, that didn't make sense. But obviously, they needed to set up the whole Lonnie face-to-face altercation with Michael. I get that. But, the flashback they were so good, man.
Dude.
Like you said, the mask was perfect.
The flashback was perfect.
Yeah, it sounded exactly like Halloween 2 in 1980. It was spot on. And I assume that was what John Carpenter was going for when he did the score for it.
The Loomis.
We
scene.
Haven't even talked about how perfect Christopher Nielsen made. He has a name. I saw it on a YouTube video. Tom something is his name. It's going to really bother me.
Well,
but
he deserves all the awards.
He does. So the person who played Loomis, he's been a worker on several horror movies, including Halloween 2018. And they pretty much had a blank slate with his face because he didn't have any hair, didn't have much facial hair. So they pretty much he looked like Donald Pleasance. And they said, Tom Jones Jr., thank you very much, Frankie. Yes. So, and Christopher Nielsen and the effects and makeups team, they did a spotless job. He looked phenomenal. He sounded really good. So yeah, I was very pleased with the flashback scenes. And I think, I saw somebody say this, I can't remember who the person on YouTube was that said it. But the Michael in the flashback scenes felt he resembled the old Michael from the original movies too. Like, the kill that they had, or even when he was beating up the other cop, it wasn't gory. It was very bland, almost just kind of slamming him, strangling him, similar to how Michael did with the other victims in 1978. So I liked that that's a subtle detail, but it's a very big one in hindsight. So I loved that. So the flashback scenes ruled, and I was very, very pleased with how those turned out.
The timing of the flashback scene too. It's like nothing ever happens. It's like, okay, there's the old timing, like that. I love that. And I love that he just disappeared. Like when he first saw him and he's like about to shoot him. And he just, I don't know, he just like disappeared.
Yep. I do. One thing, David Gordon Green, he's kind of been hovering on the fence of saying, I don't think Michael's really supernatural. I think he's capable of just superhuman things right now. He's just capable of incredible things. And at this point, I'm just kind of like, look, man, can we just acknowledge that he's not 100% man? Can we just do that?
I mean, he got stabbed in the face.
Even in that movie alone, like we can take away anything that happened in 2018, even though he got his fingers blown off and was trapped in a burning building, but he got a pitchfork to the back.
That scene! I can't.
He got shot 5 times. I think they were pretty careful to not do it in any lethal areas. It was like in his shoulders and arms and whatnot. Regardless, he got shot 5 or 6 times. He got stabbed and like the upper back got the hell beat out of him, and then just gets back up like nothing happened. Like this isn't a man, especially not a 60-year-old man. This is something bigger. So I hope, and maybe he's just doing it to kind of save face until the next movie comes out. But I think it's pretty evident he's not just a mortal man. That's been made pretty evident throughout, and I'm sure that we'll kind of get a little bit more explanation once we get closer to the movie or when the next movie comes out next year. But yeah, he's not. And Laurie Strode's little soliloquy about the more he kills, the more he transcends. I think that was just kind of setting up to kind of be that dialogue for fans to know, oh, okay, so he's not 100% human. We're on board with that. So
I like this. What was Michael's goal? What changed now? So this is, I think they did a great job with this, kind of basically saying, hey, this is not about the Strodes, or at least not entirely.
Yeah.
This is literally Michael just doesn't care who you are. He's going to kill you, which is why I thought the cancellation on Twitter was kind of funny, because he just doesn't even care who you are.
My God,
you are.
that was so stupid. And look, man, I understand. Like, this day and age, there are some people who are, don't like, people of color, don't like gay people. The fact that somebody went out of their way to write an article saying that Michael Myers is homophobic for killing a gay couple, I wanted to slam my head in a car door. That made me feel so stupid. Come on.
I know.
Come on.
What about the black couple? Like, he stabbed the guy in the eye, and I mean,
that scene was so funny.
All right. First off, if you guys, if you, all right, this was literally like the scene. I've literally talked about this with my father over and over again. This is like the scene. Remember that it was like the car insurance thing where it's like, oh, let's go hide behind the chainsaws.
Yes.
Dude, are you kidding me? And especially Chambers. Someone's like in the theater, they're like all sad. I'm like, I'm not sad. This is literally your first ever encounter with Michael. He hijacked you. He carjacked you. And you're going to tell me you're doing the same thing again? And no one thought, hey, we're sitting ducks here waiting for her. Maybe someone should be in the front seat, in the driver's seat, just in case he shows up and pins us. He's climbing on top of the thing. They're shooting out the window. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
and then the husband
man.
tries choking him with the stethoscope. Michael just kind of turns. He's like, okay, knife to the eye for you.
He's like, knife to the eye. Like that whole thing, that sequence, and who went through all of that in the first one. And she decides, look, I'm going to get these, what she put like stones or whatever it was, like blocks. And she put them in like this, sleeping bag or whatever. And she hit him over the head with it. And she got away and she hid. And honestly, I didn't love that scene because I know she got away. I know she hid. But he really didn't see her reflection in the water. See what I'm saying? When she was behind the tree.
There's another plot hole to that scene too, because he clearly crosses the bridge and goes into Haddonfield. But when Lonnie, Tommy, and everybody show up, all the bodies are set up in different things. So that means that he would have had to like stopped on the bridge and been like, hold on, and then go back, take the Halloween mask, put them on everybody, and then set them up, and then put Miriam on the swing. So like that was a small plot hole that I was like, are we just not going to acknowledge that?
Maybe he did go back and do that. That was
maybe.
I don't know. This dude, we talked about it. This dude loves dressing up his crime scenes. I mean, that's a big thing with him. Is that the craziest kill that we've seen yet, with the car door shooting herself? I mean, what?
It was hilarious.
That was
Gotta
the
pop
craziest
out of
thing
me.
I've ever seen. It's not the greatest kill. That might have honestly been the light, man.
I watched it. I've watched it multiple times. And I watched it
4 times already.
Yeah, I've watched it 3. I watched it the one time I watched it with my friend. That's the scene that pissed him off the most, because like she has the deagle and she's shooting, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And then like the entire scene, like she's walking, he's like yelling, like, "What are you doing?" That it could literally blow off his head. Just get closer. And then Michael kicks open the door and she shoots herself, and he's just like, "Oh my God!" Like the stupidity.
This one's for Loomis. Oh man, dude, that scene, I'm into it the first time I watched it, but after already seeing this movie, now
like everybody here is stupid,
parts, man.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, come on now. And then the kids, are they like annoying as all hell?
Yes,
like
incredibly.
The kids suck in the 70s. The flashback scene with Lonnie, like they actually make you feel bad for Lonnie.
Oh, they're 100% going to be in Halloween Ends. They're 100% going to be in the next movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, the fake, like, I like that they were making fun of the whole biting into the apple, the razor blade, how there's literally no reported case of that. It's a whole folks' tale. So, like, the movie was pointing. But, I actually want to point out something. And this is something I think people have different opinions on. I'm not trying to get like political or anything on it, but I do know the hospital scene was imagery about cancel culture and mob culture.
And mob, yes,
and
very
I
much
loved
so.
it. I loved it so much. It honestly made you feel bad for the guy. And one thing I realized throughout the movie is Michael and him didn't come from a prison. Like they came from a mental hospital. So this guy was not necessarily a convict. I mean, he was mentally, whatever, corrupted, whatever you want to call it. So this poor guy can't like talk. He's not like, yeah, I'm not Michael Myers. Like he didn't know why he's getting chased.
Yep.
And then at that point where he just succumbs to like death. I mean, that's kind of the whole, like, you're just pointing fingers and just, it's the whole court of public opinion. You're guilty at first. So you have to prove your innocence.
Yeah, guilty till proven innocent. Yeah.
And I thought they just did a perfect job of imagery, not just like Twitter, but I mean, just in general, the mob cancel culture and how dangerous it can be.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, and I think they wanted it to be uneasy to watch at that point because it was uneasy for me to watch. Like,
yeah, it was a hard scene to watch.
Yeah, it was hard. And just like seeing like Tommy realize, that's not him. And then Karen like trying to beg him, like, look, that's not him. And then he just kind of realizes it himself. And just when he jumps, bro, like, and it goes quiet in the movie, and like they show everybody in the hospital still just kind of, in that mob mentality, and it goes completely silent until you hear him hit the concrete. First of all, they didn't hold anything back with the imagery of that.
No,
my God, that was gory. So
this is a gory movie.
It was, and I think that's what people expected and wanted. To be honest, like I think most horror fans, if you're a fan of a slasher, you want to see some stuff. I know I do.
I agree, and I agree with this. It's like, why even have Sheriff Brackett come back in this one and have a role to just get killed the way he does? I mean, I don't know.
I think, don't get me wrong. I think that, he was never going to be a major character in this. I mean, the person who plays Lee Brackett is well into his 70s, I believe. So
yeah,
So it was a nice little cameo. He had a few lines. He had a somewhat major part in it. I thought it was fine. The way he died, I would have liked, they could have done that mob scene a little bit better. If after he said the line that he did from 78 movie, he was like, everybody's entitled to one good scare, and just shot him. I thought that would have been better.
Yeah.
Because they had two people with guns there, one of which used him after he got his hand sliced, but Brackett's just kind of standing there, and I'm just kind of like, shoot him. What are you waiting for?
No, I know.
So I don't know, man. I think that could have made the scene a little bit better if after he, delivered the iconic line, just popped one into him, and then that could have been. I did like, however, how like, he says that, everybody steps a little bit closer. Michael just looks around. He's like, all right, it's on. Grabs the mask, suits up, and he's like, let's do this. Oh, dude, that
scene was really good. And I was sitting there. I know you probably were too, because you and I both had the over on the 30 kills.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, ooh, does he get it in this one? So it comes out to be, I counted 25.
25.
I was wrong.
Yes.
I had 25, and I was sitting there like, 1, 2, 3, but enjoying the film. I was really surprised it didn't go over 30. So all of you people that watched the first time and had the under, you win. You don't win anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like we were giving anything away, but you win. Like, so if you like gratitude, there you go. But I guess really, we haven't discussed it yet. One of the best scenes, I think, in this series, if you combine all the movies, was the house, the burning building scene with the firefighters. Ugh. I thought that was done perfectly. I mean,
so good.
What I will say, and I found it really funny, you're telling me that this whole time that this house was a death trap, but you had a secret escape shed? You know what I'm saying? Like, because he opens up the shed and they're like, oh, that's how he didn't get burned to a crisp.
It's the little armory pull-up thing that Laurie had with all her guns put in it. So he just So he just kind of stepped in. I guess he just kind of like, oh, this will do, and then pulls it down. But yeah, like when he shows up in that, like, because like I had watched it already, and this is the same friend that I was watching it who got mad about the gun kill. But when you see Michael slide that thing up, that got a pop out of the people I was watching it with. That was cool.
Did you feel bad for the firefighters at any point?
No,
I didn't.
Dude, they had how much equipment? There's like 11 of them there, and they send the homie with the hose first. Let's get them wet.
Also, why are you not running away? You're not the police. You're not the National Guard. You're not the SWAT team. Also, why has the SWAT team never been called in?
Why has the National Guard of Illinois not been brought in?
Like, Nobody really,
because between two movies,
it's not big enough yet.
I don't remember the kill count from Halloween 2018, but I'm guessing it was between these two movies. There's been at least 40 people that have died.
At least 40, I would say.
Why is the National Guard not been called?
I mean, and I think part of it is because it's that day, right? It's the same
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
And
That's
not
something that's hard to
everybody's
remember.
discovered the bodies yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, we live in a country where, I mean, think about this: mass shooting can be 3 people, you know, and you're telling me that a guy who's already killed 40 people in like one day, one night, whatever you want to call it, the National Guard, whatever, hasn't called it. Even the police are really pathetic in this movie.
They are not good,
dude. And that one guy, this is also imagery. You know, when people are like, "Oh, I got this big title, look at me." Do you know who's the definition of that? The sheriff that doesn't do anything the entire time. He's like, "Oh, it was Michael Myers. We know Michael Myers is alive." Like he has these, like, you know, obviously he sounds good. He's got good dialogue, but the dude is useless.
Yeah, very, very.
He hasn't done anything in 2 films, and he's the sheriff.
Even in the first movie,
you know.
Even in the first movie, whenever they find out that the bus crash and Michael Myers is one of the escape patients, he's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do? Cancel Halloween?" Yeah. That's exactly what you should do.
That's literally, exactly. It's just, I don't know. That's how I took it. I'm like, oh, you know, you're up here in title, but and people like that, they have the big titles. They're up here. They're your bosses. They're your bosses, and yet, you know, what are they doing? They're just
Tommy kind of exploits that. Tommy kind of exploits that too when they're in the hospital. And, you know, the sheriff is like, "Hey, the law has us under control." And Tommy's like, "No, you failed us how many times tonight? We're doing this on our own now." And that's when Brackett kind of steps in. He's like, "Hey, he killed my daughter 40 years ago and mutilated her body. Evil dies tonight." And then he's like, "Damn it, Brackett, I'm the law." And whatever, dude.
Oh my God, I know.
Does he die in the next movie, do you think? Assuming he's going to be in it, because there's a time jump, which I'm sure we'll address here in a minute, but there's a 4-year time jump, so it's going to take place in 2022 when the movie releases. If the sheriff's there, I think he dies.
I'm going to assume the sheriff dies. I'm going to assume that he dies, yeah.
Because he's like he might be the only like somewhat main character that hasn't had any sort of altercation with Michael yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, he's come close, but yeah, I mean, he hasn't had any altercation with him. It's weird. This movie did a nice job of making me actually like Cameron, who I could not stand in the first one. Can
we talk about the most brutal kill in this movie, which was Cameron?
Dude, that was so personal. He was like, "Allison, this is for you." And he comes back and twists his neck. I'm like, oh my God.
So let's break this down. So, and the most brain dead of all character tropes in this movie, Lonnie decides to go into the Myers house alone, instead of calling the rest of the mob and saying, "Hey, we know where he's going." Instead, he decides to go in by himself. They hear the gunshot. They go in. They find Big John, Little John dead. Cameron goes to see if he can find his dad. He sees him up, stored away in the attic after Michael had killed him. Michael bursts out of the closet, stabs him twice. Allison comes out, gives him a couple quick stabs before he throws her down the stairs and she snaps her leg. And then that poor son of a bitch, Cameron, he throws Cameron down the hall, slams his head twice against the railing before it breaks.
Yeah, the banister.
Swings him back and forth, gets him cut up, lifts him up into a pointy thing that was broken off the banister.
Yeah,
puts him back down onto the banister, hurting it, penetrating his neck and whatnot. He's pretty much dead at this point. And then Allison stands up. It's like, "Come get me, motherfucker!" And then he stands at the top of the staircase, starts walking down, looks over. And she screams like, "Leave him alone." And he's like,
He's like, "No,
I will not do that." Actually, so no, dude, he got it bad,
dude. And then right after I watched that, he ends up. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix original series You, but he's in season.
He's in 3. Yeah, I heard that he's in season 3 of You. So it's been
really good. So I think this actor is like, I mean, he's just killing it, I guess.
And I'm dating myself on this one, but he was also in After. I read the book After because I'm a teenage girl at heart, apparently. And they made a movie of it. He plays a character in that. So he's also in that. But yes, it's been a good year for him. Good for him.
Oh, it's been a great year for him. He's dating the actress that plays Love.
Is he?
He was just like, "Oh, okay, don't mind if I do." He just slid right in there and started dating the actress that plays Love.
And not that there's anything wrong with dating women that are older than you, but I am going to bet my life
he's older than her.
What? How old is he?
I think he's 30 and she's 29.
Really?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just saw it the other day.
I'm looking into this.
Yeah,
they do a great job of making him look younger then.
But yeah, I thought it was cool that they made Cameron have such a role at the beginning, because keep in mind, I mean, you hate him from the first one. He throws Allison's phone in the cheese. Like,
yeah,
remember
in
that?
The cheese.
Like, it's just right in the cheese. He just throws
By the
it
way,
right in there.
Dylan Arnold is the actor's name, and he is 27.
Okay, he's 27. So I think Love is 26 then.
Yeah, let me find this out, because this is...
Yeah, it's crazy. But it goes to show, I mean, I don't know if you would call You a horror TV series.
She is 26. No, I think it's more of like a thriller action type thing. Psychological.
I think you could call it horror to an extent, but I mean, it just kind of goes to show you these are all, you're going to have different elements. People, actors and actresses are going to be a part of whatever, you know, but just kind of sticking to this movie. You know, I thought this was a really good number 2. I think that number 3 is going to make this better. I think this will end up being the best movie of all. I really do. When you go back and you look at it all, I think it'll end up aging the best, as everyone says. It'll age like fine wine. But I think it needs 3 for the people that can't just look at this as a 2 movie and instead just look at it as a single film.
Yeah.
Because I do think a lot of that goes into it. I mean, you know, you look at 1, the original, and you're like, that did a really nice job going into 2. And then 2 was a really nice, like, you know, like leaving 1. It was a really nice sequel. But, you know, then you have Halloween 3, which kind of, you know, whatever. We won't get into that. But I felt like this movie was a great way to kind of leave 2018, but have that same, you know, there was like the tongue-in-cheek kind of humor here and there. In addition to that, you had the gore, you had the chaos. I just think they made Michael ferocious in this. I mean, this is the scene. He's got a monster mask.
I was just about to say that was so.
We had not talked about that yet.
Good.
That has maybe the best kill in this new. So far, there's only 2 movies in the trilogy, but this new trilogy, that's maybe the best kill you'll see with the broken light. It is unbelievable. The broken light thing was insane.
And I think that James Jude Courtney might be my favorite Michael Myers ever. He's absolutely
really good,
phenomenal. Like, he looks horrifying.
Finally a little bit without his mask. I don't think it ruined it though. They darkened enough of it where you didn't see his full face, and I didn't mind them showing his full face in the first one, where, you know, he just gets it, he puts it back on. You know, I don't mind that, but don't have him like running around.
Sure.
You know, cough, cough. Halloween 2, 2009. With like him, he's just, you know, he's running around with the beard and everything. I'm like, no, what is
hated
this?
That.
That was bad.
Love you, Rob Zombie, but damn it, that movie is unforgivable.
But like you did say last time, it was a Rob Zombie movie, because I did happen to go back and watch the Firefly trilogy, and I know what you mean. It is a Rob Zombie movie.
It is a Rob Zombie movie.
You have to just watch his movies.
Yeah. But no, I do think that James Jude Courtney is overall, like, in terms of Michael's mannerisms and also just how terrifying he is, I think he's the best overall Michael. Like, Tyler Mane and Rob Zombie's Halloween sequel and his Halloween sequels, he might be the most crap your pants terrifying Michael, just with his stature and whatnot. But James Jude Courtney, I think, is the best overall, just in terms of how scary he is, how brutal he is, his mannerisms. Like, we saw it even in that scene where the couple gets killed and he has the husband over the table, stabs him once, kind of looks at him, tilts his head, grabs another knife, does it again, tilts his head, grabs another knife, does it again. Like, that was Michael Myers in a nutshell to me.
That was
displaying his kills and just fascinated with death.
And there were people that were knocking that, and they're saying, "Oh, this is too brutalizing." I'm like, and when is Michael not a brutalizing character?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we want Michael Myers to be shown like the absolute sadistic animal that he is, and this movie did that to a T.
And I think they're trying to explore on what he probably would have done in the originals if they could have implemented it. So
like, you know, you go back and watch 1978, it's tame. Look, the way he killed people was and again, that was the standard for like 1978 slashers. They weren't exactly gory. They weren't very bloody and anything. And you watch the original 1978 movie, like, there's almost no blood in that movie. They get a little bit more gory in Halloween 2 a few years later, but The original movie, it has almost no blood in it.
The first kill.
Yeah. So in terms of how far it's come, like, yes, obviously, and they're obviously with this trilogy, they're ignoring all the other sequels, but like there's still that lore of Michael Myers from those sequels that still lives. So I do think that this iteration of Michael and how James Jude Courtney portrays him, it's been absolutely phenomenal. And the actor who played him in the flashback sequences, I think, did a phenomenal job as well. I don't remember his name either. If somebody could drop that in the chat, that would be beneficial. I think it's Aaron something, Aaron Carter, if I'm getting that right.
No, not that Aaron Carter.
Yes, that Aaron Carter.
No, I really thought they did a nice job with that scene. That because once again, you mentioned this the last episode. It's like you can have the humor aspects in a Halloween movie before he kills whoever he kills.
Sure.
It happens all the time. I mean, Big John, Little John was hilarious.
They
I
were
thought it worked
great.
perfectly. They
Michael
were
McDonald never misses a role that he's in. He is absolutely phenomenal. I loved them. They were
very enjoyable. I thought it was funny. The Little John was the tall one, and the Big John was the
my
small
favorite. My favorite thing out of any of those two was when he's talking to the kids after they pull the prank and whatnot, and Big John just leans down. He's like, he stabbed his sister in the tits. That made me laugh so hard. That was so funny.
And you got like his voice down perfectly.
It was so great.
It was like, I don't know. I just thought that was done really well. And it was fun when he looks over and he sees the bloody hand. He's like, someone's in our house, and it's not
a child.
Not a child. Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh my God.
Stupid thing by them though. At least I know that if I see that on
I'm getting out of there.
I'm hauling ass. I'm not staying in there grabbing the world's smallest knife and going to go see if I can kill this guy.
I got this knife.
I've got this knife. Oh, dude, the stab through the armpit. That I felt that hurt.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, normally I don't like anything with the eye. So the original one with the doctor, the guy dressed up as the doctor, that was kind of but no, I hear you. The armpit, you could definitely I love though is that they make like the knife stab sounds, like they add like some bass to it. So it's like like there's some pop, and I thought they very much pulled that off with the back where he's stabbing him in the back with the multiple knives, because you could hear that.
Yep.
And he just lets her bleed out while she
just watches.
She just watches whatever he was, her husband, I don't know.
That kill though, man. She like grabs. First of all, why didn't she run away? She could just open the door and haul it ass. Whatever. I'm not going to get into it. But she grabs the knife and he's just like smashes it and just jams it in and then just rips it and it goes ever. Oh, dude, that was absolutely brutal. It was awesome. I loved everything about it. And I think Jamie Lee. He did. He
killed the kid. And honestly, I didn't feel bad because they were annoying.
No, they were annoying, and I'm glad that he's dead. There, I said it. And I saw interviews with Jamie Lee Curtis and Andy Matichak when they're talking about what kills they like the most from the movie. I think both of them said, I think Judy Greer might have too. No, I think Judy Greer and Andy Matichak said the fluorescent light kill, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis said the Cameron kill was her favorite. So yeah, 2 out of the 3 saying that the fluorescent light kill their favorite. Answer. Yes, Aaron Armstrong. Yes, that is the actor that played Michael in the flashback scenes. He did a phenomenal job as well. So all in all, just great Michael Myers in this movie. And then look, I saw somebody else say it in the chat. They're absolutely right. This is very much Michael Myers movie.
Oh yeah.
In comparison to the 2018 version being Jamie Lee Curtis's movie, this is where they kind of, this will be Jamie Lee Curtis's, this is Michael's, and I think the third one's going to be just an overall culmination of being Andy Matichak, Jamie Lee Curtis, and James Jude Courtney all wrapped into one, just being a great. I hope that this next one is a little bit longer. Like this one was pretty long, is an hour 45. Yeah. I want to see this next one be around like 2.5 hours. I think it needs to be this epic long movie.
Do you think this is the last one? Like realistically speaking, do you think that, I mean, obviously I think things will be rebooted over time, But is this the last one for like the next 20 years, would you say?
No, not 20
years. I don't think so. Because I think when you have a guy like, Jason Blum now, they have this, they have the IP or whatever they have right now. They're with Halloween is in Blumhouse production. So
yeah.
With that said, they are just so creative. I'm sure that they could have, they could do something different, a reimaginative version of Michael Myers or something.
Sure.
I think that they could start doing the whole, not as painfully bad. I think they could start having him go in different settings. Why does he just stay in Haddonfield? Why is it just his house? Maybe Halloween Ends is just Haddonfield. Like he's done with Haddonfield. I still don't feel with, Akkad. I don't feel like with that contract, I don't think they, changed anything. I don't think they ratified it. I think you still can't kill Michael Myers on a movie. And so for that reason, I think maybe we're looking at the title Halloween Ends and just assuming, oh yeah, he dies in some capacity. What if he just leaves Haddonfield? What if he kills everyone in Haddonfield? Like, we don't know, it could be Halloween Ends is just, it ends. Like, could be the end, could be literally the end of Halloween, like that day. And now it's November, like we don't know. We don't know what that title means.
I do know that, David Gordon Green has been pretty public saying that, he, in terms of him working on Halloween, he's doing this trilogy and then he's done with Halloween.
Yeah, he's done.
And I think that David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, they've all said, yeah, we're just going to do this trilogy. But he's also said, like, I would like to see the character rest for at least a few years, though, just because I would get a little bit, as much as I love this franchise, oversaturation is a thing. So if they wanted to wait a few years and do some other form of a reboot, like they could even try attacking the whole Laurie Strode being a sister thing again in some sort of different universe. Like they can definitively have this as their own standalone story. And then whoever takes it over next, it's a completely different timeline, that's what it's going to be. So no, it's not going to be 20 years until we get another one. I'd say it'll be between 5 and 10 until somebody else decides to make it. Yes, Frankie, very, very good observation. So this will be, it's going to be its own standalone trilogy dating back to the fourth one. So 1978 through Ends is going to be its own timeline. And then whenever they do decide to make another Halloween movie, that'll have maybe its own separate timeline. Maybe we'll get Danielle Harris to come back and we'll do a different Jamie Lloyd type timeline.
I'm hoping that she comes back in the third one.
That would be dope.
Rumor she's going to be used in some capacity.
I would absolutely love to see Danielle Harris in
You got to keep the streak going, man.
Exactly. She was in both of Rob Zombie's movies,
right? She's mentioned in every timeline. She's in every timeline except for the H201.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would be totally okay with that. Now, obviously, I don't know. She could just have like her own standalone character. I'm going to highly doubt that there's going to be any relation to, Karen or Laurie or Allison or anything, but I would love to see her in Halloween Ends because she's awesome. And Jamie Lloyd is one of the best characters in the history of the Halloween franchise. So
yes.
If she's in Halloween Ends, or like I said, if in a few years they decide to create a different timeline from it, or to build off a timeline that's already established and one of the several timelines that we already have, if she were to come back in that capacity, that would be cool to me too. This is, David Gordon Green, like I said, he's said, this is going to be my trilogy and then I'm done with it. But if anybody else were, in a few years wanted to try something new with it, that would be totally cool. So this is by no means the last of Michael Myers, but I do hope we get some sort of good definitive end to Halloween in terms of Halloween Ends for this timeline, at least for this trilogy. And Malik Akkad, I think that David Gordon Green, like if he does, decide, okay, we're going to kill Michael Myers, I think he can go to Malik Akkad and say, like, look, this isn't saying that,
well, I think it was Mustafa Akkad's original
Mustafa
thing.
Yes.
So I don't know if Malik would change it because I know it's the whole, it was passed down to him.
Yes.
It's his dad's. But I mean, if he did change it, that would be something. But I think the next, like where you could go after Halloween Ends, if he's alive, I'd like to see him in another setting. And I'm not talking about like Jason Voorhees goes to New York City, which is not actually, he doesn't take Manhattan. He takes a small harbor, outside of Manhattan. That's the dumbest thing ever. It sounds as stupid as it is. I don't want anything like that, but like, what if he just starts?
I want Michael Myers in space.
Yeah, no, let's not go there. But I'd like to see him, maybe in a different setting, maybe, take on different places, not just Haddonfield, because I feel like that could be where it gets a little oversaturated when you're just talking about Haddonfield. I know they changed it up a little bit in H2O, but I liked that change. You know, I liked that redressing of the, you know, obviously it's still, you know, a place where people are, he's still killing people, all of that, but it's at this like boarding school, you know, area where, you know, Carrie, I forget her name. Yeah.
Carrie Tate.
That's
what Laurie Strode changed her name to. Yep.
Yeah. Good. You know, remembering that. But, you know, I would not mind that. I think a change of setting would be good if they're going to do that. But what I wouldn't want to see, and I've seen this rumor and people have mentioned this, what about a spinoff called Haddonfield? No, because you're missing the point of Halloween. Halloween is called Halloween because it's so big, right?
What does this spinoff entail?
It wouldn't be Michael Myers.
Screw that.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, I'm out. I don't care about Haddonfield that much. I know I hate to.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of Haddonfield and I love the lore of it, but no. Yeah,
but I wouldn't watch a spinoff. I mean, I would if it. Yeah, let's be honest here. I would.
But I'm sure it wouldn't be great.
But it would. Yeah, exactly.
And even if it is great, everybody's going to be like, Michael Myers isn't in this, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, you're missing the point, Mike. The only reason it's called Halloween is because it's been a Super Bowl. It's been a super recognizable brand. Halloween is a brand name. People know it, so you're not going to change it to Michael Myers. Well, maybe you would. Maybe the next series would be the Michael Myers series. But regardless, there's been so many movies that'd be stupid. You'd probably still keep it Halloween.
Can you put that comment by Shot by Nolan on the screen?
Oh, which one?
If Michael Myers goes to space, Jason and Leprechaun will be there waiting.
No, not Leprechaun. I hate Leprechaun.
Leprechaun sucks.
Yes. We got to do a hate Leprechaun episode sometime.
Leprechaun to me is more comedy than it is horror. Like
James A. Janice really hit on this because I watched the movies and I watched the kill counts. I want to see like his commentary because he knows some stuff, you know, about, you know, and he was like, man, Leprechaun just sucks. Like, he's like nothing. Like, he made the perfect comparison. I believe it was him. He said it was like Freddy's Dead, which is by far the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yes.
But it like, you can almost respect it because even though Freddy is like, oh, time to put on the power glove, and he's got all sorts of weird, wonky stuff like that, or when he's like, oh, it's your big break, and like he slams her head through a TV, you know, that stuff is being done by Freddy. Freddy Krueger is a likable villain.
Yeah.
Leprechaun just sucks. There's nothing good about him. He's not funny. Nothing, like his one-liners are awful. When he kills somebody, it's like he barely killed them. He got away with it, or like they just happened to, you know, he pulled one over on him. He's not intimidating. And you wasted getting Jennifer Aniston in the first one.
I was just gonna say, Jennifer Aniston was in the first Leprechaun movie. Not a lot of people remember that, and it's horrible.
I love how I can say the power glove and everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
With that voice, which is like, oh dear God. I mean, like I said, Jesse Walsh's screams are like the best. I would rather watch. What did I say, Nolan, yesterday in the Discord? I think I said I'd rather listen to watch Jesse Walsh screaming for 2 hours over watching a Leprechaun movie.
Yeah, at least I would laugh until I had abs watching Jesse scream for 2 hours. My God. I'm so glad that you made me watch that because that was hysterical.
It's a classic. You know?
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's really, I mean, he's the first ever like male scream queen.
Yes.
So it works, you know.
I am going to get a little bit back to the question that we do have on the screen is what should we expect from Michael when Halloween ends? That's the thing. Like, we know that there's going to be a time jump. And look, I'm going to put all my faith in the world into Danny McBride and David Gordon Green because they've done such a good job with the first two movies that they're going to find a way to make this make sense in terms of, you know, where Michael went, what he's done, how they decided to, you know, what they've decided is the right story to tell on how this time jump happened, what has happened since then, and where Michael is and what he's doing. So I really don't know, man. That's one thing where like I'm trying to think of like what do I want in this movie and what do I think is going to happen. I truly I can't put anything rational together that makes sense in my head right now. I really don't know.
That's a sign of a lot of potential because you know, I think the time jump has us being like, wait, what? Like the fact that they already announced it, I think actually works because now your mind is swirling.
Mm-hmm.
See, if they just picked up where they left off, you know, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll show the ending of that and then do a time jump. You know?
I'm glad that they're doing this time jump though, because if you look at all the characters here, and again, this is something pointed out by, and I need to find out this YouTuber's name because I've watched a few of his videos and he's actually very good.
Is it Halloween?
Yeah, he did a Halloween commentary on it.
I wonder if it's Jimmy Champagne.
It wasn't Jimmy Champagne. No, I do like Jimmy Champagne a lot. I think it's Chris something. It starts with an M. Chris Morse, maybe. That sounds about right. I'll say Chris Morse. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong later. But he said that like it makes sense to not make this on the same night because look at all the main characters' state right now. Like Allison has a broken leg. Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode just got surgery. She isn't going to be able to take them on. Yeah. So everybody that, you know, and plus everybody else that makes sense right now is dead. So they need to have some sort of time jump to establish like a couple new characters perhaps, or and to let everybody else heal up to actually have some sort of final confrontation with Michael. Because right now, like it couldn't happen on the same night because they're all way too banged up.
No, I think that's a great point. I haven't really heard that yet. And I think that makes a lot of sense because like you said, I mean, they'd be just like, you know, sitting ducks.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, and he pretty much teleported in that last scene.
Here's the thing. Everybody's so mad about that last scene. And like, how could he have gotten through everybody that's outside? Like, you realize that there's other street. He can walk around and go through the back door. Like, this isn't like the final house. Like,
and we don't know how long after that was either.
Yeah.
Everyone like, I love how everyone just uses, I'm not saying everybody, but like when people use like how long it took them to show it from then, it's like, okay, there's no sense that you know that there wasn't a time, you know, like there could have been a time jump, whether it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
Like to just assume that it's based on what you saw. So it's like the first, you know, what was it, 2 minutes? And then it panned over to that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean in 2 minutes he got there. If it does, then I mean, then I think they're playing on the fact that he's supernatural and he did teleport, which Jason does. We know that Jason teleports.
They're not going to have Michael Myers teleport,
but
please God.
There's no way you can have Michael Myers teleport.
No. So what I think happened is that, you know, because like they show Allison and everybody, like there's an ambulance out front. So ambulances don't just show up. That's very good, Frankie. We'll consider it.
Jesse screams. Wow.
So because there's an ambulance there, I don't know how long ambulances usually take to get somewhere. I'd assume minimum like 15 minutes. So that's plenty of time for him to just kind of, okay, I'm going to walk around everything that's happening right now. Or the ambulance could have not been there. He could have just snuck it a little bit better rather than have to go all the way around. Regardless, he didn't just pass through everybody that was already in the front of the house. He went in the back and then just kind of waited, heard Karen come up the stairs, and decided to finish it.
Yeah, and you know what? I gotta say, I thought it was really funny. I was watching the scene over on YouTube again, and someone commented, and they're like, I don't think she's dead. And like the dude was like, yo, the dude stabbed her 14 times. What do you mean you don't think she's dead? And I just think it's funny because, look, I like Judy Greer. I like the character, but I just think it's funny how it's almost like there's people that are really upset by it. And there's people like it was almost comical with people like, no, she might not be dead though. It's like, oh, that final stab, that did it right there.
Yeah.
And then like do you know the original, they cut it out, thank God.
The original ending?
Yes. I think it would have ruined the movie if they kept it. He calls up Laurie and then
No. So the original ending that they had planned was that like Karen would still be killed and whatnot the same way that she was, but that Laurie calls Karen and Michael picks up the phone. And that's in the trailer that we see with Laurie like marching down the hospital halls with the knife. That was going to be the original final shot of the movie because she realizes, oh, Karen's dead. I need to go, try to kill him. So, but they came out, both David Gordon Green and Danny McBride said that would have made it seem as if Michael cares about Laurie, and we don't want that. So they got rid of that ending and had just Karen dying be the final ending, because if he would answer the phone and breathe into it, that would make it seem like, okay, he does care about Laurie Strode, when they very much want to get the point across that he doesn't necessarily care about Laurie. She just keeps inserting herself into the situation, which makes him, keep trying to kill her.
Yeah, it's almost, it's funny. It's almost the Stockholm syndrome, If you really think about it, Laurie is Michael's prisoner, so to speak, in mind. Like, he always lives in her mind rent-free. I know other people in Haddonfield are the same, but it's not like Tommy takes it upon himself to be like, Michael is coming after me. Laurie always makes it about her. So it's almost like this is like her identity, and she's adapted to it, and she almost, like, whether she wants to admit it or not, the character that she is in this trilogy, she enjoys hating Michael. She's made this more about herself than the safety of others. I think that's the big thing, I think.
And I'm kind of, one thing that I would have liked to see them pay more attention to in Halloween Ends was like the realization, or like telling Laurie, like, look, this was never about you. Like, that should affect her because she's let it control her life. And the fact that they just kind of gloss over it with Hawkins saying, like, it was never Michael's fascination. It was the doctor who brought Michael to your house. Like, the fact that didn't really seem to do too much to her. I'd like to think we're going to get a little bit more commentary on that in Halloween Ends. But yeah, they just kind of gloss over it in Halloween Kills. And, that would affect somebody if you literally dedicate your entire life to, waiting and preparing for somebody coming back that you think wants to kill you, but didn't really necessarily have that in mind. Like, that would affect you. And especially if it costs the lives of a lot of people because of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, it would, real life, say this happens, right? You have a serial killer, you survive a serial killer outing, and like all the other people died, right? That came across this. Well, you would instantly be like, maybe not you, but I mean, probably you'd be stunned for the rest of your life. You'd probably be in a state of shock, but on top of it, you might honestly have some,
some paranoia,
some, like, ego, I guess, to it as well. You know, where it's like, well, I survived, and then you you wear that with a badge of honor. And I think that's what Laurie does. And then she uses, I don't think Laurie's like a bad person by any stretch, but I do think that she is a human being. And I do think because of what's happening, she makes it more about herself, that she kind of takes her eyes off the prize in a sense, So I mean, I think she didn't, like, for instance, she didn't stop anybody from going and like getting him or anything when she found out that, you know what I mean? Like, so it's stuff like that.
She encouraged it. I mean, when Tommy came into the hospital room, which was an odd scene to me.
I know. There's no way, by the way, and in hell that he gets in there in that like day and age. Like, there's no way they would have allowed it. I don't even think they would have allowed it in the 70s, but I'm sure that they were probably a little bit more lenient, especially if they were to do, which apparently they might. I hope this is not the case, but I heard like the next movie might be more modern day, so there'll be people with like masks on and like COVID and everything. I'm hoping to God they're not doing that angle.
David Gordon Green did say that like the pandemic has happened in that movie, so like we'll see like the ramifications of that. I'm gonna trust that they're not gonna be like preachy and everything about it in a Halloween movie. I don't think that's what we're getting. I think a lot of people are expecting that, and they're kind of pissed off already about it. Like, people like.
Yeah, I'm not pissed because I haven't seen it yet. But it's one of those things like, man, it would totally take every single like piece of, like this whole very impactful movie and just everything, just chaos and everything, if like they had Allison with a mask on screaming about Michael Myers.
Right. Like, and I don't think that they're gonna have
it
that.
Just, also I hope Allison at the end of the movie doesn't take off his mask and put it on her head. I'm just, as long as that doesn't happen, I think I'll be good.
I think that we're well past that. I don't think we're going to get a Rob Zombie type ending. I really hope not. Like I said, I'm putting a lot of trust into David Gordon Green and Danny McBride because they've done a very good job with the first two movies. So I'm going to trust that this one's going to be good as well. But yeah, it's hard to say like what I expect from Halloween Ends. I will say this. I do think that there's going to be some ginormous altercation at the very end. I do think Allison's going to be, I do think she lives. I think that either Laurie and or Michael will die. At least one of them. I do think that Laurie's going to die regardless. So it's going to be Laurie.
Laurie might die before she even comes across him.
So it's going to be either Laurie,
in awful shape.
Either Laurie or Laurie and Michael. I think that Laurie will definitely die. Michael might die. And like I said, I think that, with the fact that they can do multiple reboots and multiple timelines of this, if they want to make another Halloween movie, killing him in this trilogy won't take away the like lore of Michael Myers, especially if they have to go to like some incredible, like ungodly feats to kill him, which we know that they're going to have to do. Yes, shot by Nolan. Rob Zombie would definitely do that. So yeah, I think that if it's going to come down to like this altercation at the very end where Laurie kind of sacrifices herself to kill Michael, and that's kind of where the trilogy ends. And then, like I said, in a few years, when they definitely want to make another Halloween movie, they can either start a new separate timeline. They could, do it in a different setting, maybe.
Maybe they do it without the Strodes entirely.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis has said that this is going to be her last time playing Laurie Strode. So if they want to do a different timeline, if they want to start their own new timeline with Michael Myers, they can. There's a vast array of things that they can do. Killing him in this timeline won't affect that.
No, I think I would like the different settings. I would like, I mean, maybe it's a chance for, Andy to kind of pick up. Maybe, maybe this is going to be her big thing where like she continues to build off this, and then they want her to be the front person in the next movie with Michael, and they kind of break it off into like a different thing. They could even make her like she was never a Strode, so to speak. They could do all sorts of stuff. I wouldn't want a multiverse of madness type of deal where all the Michael Myers are chasing people, and then you have Laurie Strode.
So we got Nick Castle's Michael Myers on one side, we got Tyler Mane on the other, and James Jude Courtney in the middle. There's 3 Michael Myers. Good luck, Haddonfield.
Yeah, that would just be what I think everyone would be like, all right, Tyler Mane. No, you're like 6'8". I'm gonna avoid you.
Yeah, he's the one that I would avoid at all costs. Like if I saw Tyler Mane walking at me, like Tyler Mane, Michael Myers, I would crap your pants. He's horrifying.
He's just, yeah, it's. I agree with you because I mean, well, he looks like that big wrestler, right? Like in the ring, like that's the whole thing with him. Didn't he play? Was it Sabretooth in X-Men?
He played somebody. I can't remember exactly who, but yeah, I know he used to be a wrestler, which definitely helps with the physique and whatnot that the physical shape that he's in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to the next movie.
Copycat Michael Myers. What would you think about that?
No, don't turn this into Scream.
No, I'm not. Well, it's really, that's the thing. It's not. I would say I think it'd work better than the freaking thing that they did in Friday the 13th: A New Beginning. Did you see that?
I have seen that.
I mean, it would be the worst one if Jason didn't go to Manhattan in space.
Yes.
That's how I look at it. A horror multiverse. Yes, he did play Sabretooth.
Okay.
There we go.
Frankie's been like our unofficial researcher for the night.
Yeah, that's what I love about the the live action. I mean, we turn this into a podcast as well. You guys can, if you do want to re-listen to it, and YouTube for whatever reason hasn't figured out in 2021 that people want to watch but also listen, that you can close the app and go. I mean, how it's not this podcast is not about that, but how has that not been fixed yet? It's 2021. There have been memes about that for 10 years.
I don't know. But you'd like to think eventually, like maybe I
just want to be able to close the YouTube app and be left alone. That's all I want.
I know. It's unfortunate, but
it really is. But yeah, we do have podcasts on all podcast platforms.
We do.
Want to wrap it up with the last question here?
Yeah, but before we get going with like this last one, I will say like what I want to happen is kind of what I already said, is that I want Laurie and Michael to both die at the very end, and then when they want to make a new Halloween movie, just do a different timeline, do a different idea, let this trilogy be its own standalone thing, which obviously it's going to be because, excuse me, Danny McBride and David Gordon Green won't be back. So I'm totally fine with Michael and Laurie dying and that being the end of this story. And then when they want to make new Halloween movies, start a new story. That can be fine. So that's what I want.
I'm sitting here like, how the freaking hell are you going to kill Michael Myers? Like
a tank. Laurie's going to ride through Haddonfield on a tank.
At this point, I feel like Laurie's going to do like, it's going to be part of like what she should have done in Halloween Resurrection and not like killed herself. But she should just be like stab him and like then knock him off a building where then there's a train that runs them both over. Like, that's the only thing I can really think of that would, or drowning. I mean, you know, lighting him on fire doesn't work. Stabbing him in the face doesn't work. Maybe drowning him would work. Maybe having lightning strike him, attaching him to a lightning rod. I don't know at this point. How the hell are you going to kill this guy?
Michael Myers grows like a shark fin and gills and just like, oh, okay, well, I guess drowning doesn't work either.
Yeah, and then the modern day, you know, with everybody doing reboots and remakes, will be like, oh, well, I got this idea. We'll turn him into Jaws. That's it. like one of the no, and that's what will happen. It'll actually be more believable than the curse of Thorn, because it'll be like, actually the reason Jaws exists is because it's Michael Myers reincarnated in a shark.
It just comes all full circle.
It does.
That would be hysterically horrible.
Oh man. Like, I mean, at this point, I just don't know how you kill Michael Myers. I'm not saying like.
Do you remember? Have you seen that episode of Family Guy? Whenever Peter's talking about how he made a movie, he's like, it's called Even Bigger Jaws, and then he's like,
I did actually.
Big Jaws and regular Jaws have to work together to beat even bigger Jaws. I was like, yes.
Oh
yes,
my god. Work. How about we call Michael's parents for a change?
My guess is they're dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, yeah, because I mean, he has like, you know, he's got a gray beard and it's been 40 years. So his
I mean, he's 21 in 1978. So in this day and age,
so
he would be like
they're
64, 65.
Yeah. So they're definitely dead then. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think to kill Michael is really what I'm hung up on. I mean, I think everyone and their mother knows that Laurie is going to die in the last one. If she even makes it to the last one, because like I said, it looks like she's about to keel over anyway. But you know, when it comes to Michael, it's like, how do you do it? And you also keep in mind, it's like, I know people are going to want like that fan service. Laurie gets her, but like, what is her revenge? She survived. Like, Michael, if anything, needs his revenge. She made him look like a fool. She beat him, you know, she got away twice and she put him she locked him in this box, you know, and then lit it on fire. It's not Laurie's revenge story, you know. Really, it's Michael's, if anything, because Laurie's the one that got away.
It's Allison's story at this point.
Well,
she has more reason to be pissed off than Laurie does at this point.
Well, I was getting to that point, so I was saying that I know people would be like, "Oh, well, I really want to see Laurie be the one to." Why should Laurie be the one to kill him? Like, what has he done to Laurie, really? Because if we're getting rid of the fact, like, it's not about her family and everything. I mean, he's killed Laurie's daughter, but I mean, I feel like that's more
and 3 friends 40 years ago.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more an attachment to Annie Matchek's character, because I mean, he like brutalized her boyfriend and he made that personal, man. The other thing is, when she saw, just because they were laid out the way they were, when she saw her friends, they were already dead. She didn't get to see anybody killed in front of her. She didn't even see Karen get killed in front of her. But that's the one thing that Annie Matchek's character did see Cameron get killed in front of her. And I think, you know, that camera connection to Lonnie was kind of showing us how tight knit this whole like community is.
Yep.
And I think Annie Matchek's character, Allison, is going to have a little bit of an edge. And I think she's going to be the one that does it.
I'm going to put my name in the ring for a new character and Halloween Ends. So David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, if you need a new male counterpoint to attack Michael Myers with Allison, I am available. I think I fit the bill, and I'm ready to go on call. So I think I should be the newest iteration to the Halloween franchise.
Oh man, well, what are you gonna do?
Okay, so there's this time hop. Maybe Haddonfield's gone like almost like a ghost town. Maybe not a ghost town. Like, people still live there, but like they're kind of like weary. It's not as interactive as it once was, because people are still, you know, wary of the fact that Michael Myers is still out there. They don't know where he is. So there's this like almost convenience store, right? And my character runs it with my father. My father is kind of sick though, so I work it most days. And then stuff starts to hit the fan and whatnot. and then I team up with Allison. And then I have this scene with Laurie, right, where like Laurie's like, "Why did you stay here?" And I was like, "Well, where was I going to go, Laurie?" And then we all band together, and then we try to. Now, ultimately, I'm obviously going to die. That's just a given at this point. Or maybe I live, and then me and Allison get married and have a bunch of children.
You're a male in a horror film. No, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm probably going to die. As long as I get, as long as I make it a decent way through the movie, I'm cool with that. But yeah, I'll be the maybe not the new Cameron, quote unquote, but I'll be like, I'll be the cool guy with a leather jacket that dies in a horror movie. I'll do it.
Well, what if like, during this whole thing we find out that it's kind of like this cabin in the woods scene, setting where it's like there's stuff going
hands.
on. There's stuff going on in the background. No, not like cabin in the woods, but I mean like, so say like the purge is happening or something. Like then all of a sudden Michael Myers has to go up against everybody that thinks crime is legal for 12 hours.
We're gonna make Halloween the forever purge.
Dude, make Halloween the forever purge. Like if I would watch a battle royale type of style movie where just Michael
like, against the field.
Yeah, I'd take Michael, man. I don't think you could kill him. That's why I don't think he's gonna die in Halloween Ends. That's my prediction. I think that Allison is going to kill him. I think he will live at the end, and I think he'll move on. I think Halloween Ends is the end of Haddonfield as we know it because they're not going to show it anymore. I think it's going to be a new setting. I think Laurie's going to get killed in battle. I think Allison will kill him. They'll show Allison. It'll be a time jump. They'll show her, and then, they'll show Michael at the end breathing somewhere where, maybe there's water or something, but he'll show up at the end. And it'll have everybody freaking out because they can't end the movie with a definitive ending. I think if they really want to make this the right way, if they want to bring back Michael Myers, they want to keep making these movies. I think it'd be best to make it something where at the end, he pops up and you're like, okay, he's still alive, which I figured. But now all of a sudden you'll have everybody talking about it instead of she kills him at the end. And then you have to be like, well, he died, but now but but he died. I feel like they got to make like a cliffhanger, like a definitive end to Laurie and have Allison have that, that feeling he's dead. But I still think they got to keep him alive.
I disagree. I do think that they can have a definitive end to Michael Myers and just this trilogy, and just like I said before, just start a new story.
Maybe just this trilogy. It's more so if they decide to keep it going with, maybe a different studio would. You would just end it. But if like Jason Blum has ideas to keep this thing going in a different trilogy or a different timeline or whatever, then, maybe he'll keep him alive at the end. Kind of like, I think it's the end of one of the Jason Goes to Hell or Freddy's Dead or one of them. I think it's Jason Goes to Hell where they teased Freddy versus Jason like 11 years before it happened. That type of deal. You know what I mean? Where it didn't follow it. I think there were movies made after it. But it's kind of just putting that in your mind, like, okay, that's a thing. But last question here. Where do you rank Halloween Kills in the series now?
After I watched it, I was just so hyped. I was like, yep, this is the second best movie of all Halloween lore. I'd still very much near the top for me. Like, I don't know where I want to put it because, like, I feel like Halloween 1978 is always going to be like in that god tier of Halloween movies. So like, it's going to be hard to top that. Like, do I like it better than 2018? There's some aspects that I really do. I like that it's just Michael being brutal throughout the entire movie. It has enough of the story to carry it along. So it's between 2 and 4. Like, you could put Halloween Kills, Halloween 2018, Halloween 4 in any order for me, and I wouldn't argue too much because there's things about each of them that I love. So at its highest, number 2, the lowest would be number 4 for me. I think it's that good. So somewhere in there.
So I ended up putting it ahead of 2018. I have it second. So I had Halloween, the original 1978, number 1. I had at second, I have Halloween Kills. Number 3, I have 2018. I just thought at the end of the day, this did everything for me. I was really impressed with it. I thought it was a great. People were saying, I think it might have been David Gordon Green that also said this too, that it was like their Empire Strikes Back of the series.
Yes.
And I kind of got that vibe. And I think Empire Strikes Back, initially wasn't as revered it wasn't like talked about the way it is today. I feel like once the Return of the Jedi came out, I think it really it completed the story and everything. And I feel like that's what it's going to do. Halloween Ends will do for Halloween Kills. I think when going back to it, I think Halloween 2018 suffers for me in one aspect and why it is below Kills, except for the fact I liked Kills more. Halloween 2018 has the really, really stupid scene where, and you already know where I'm going with this, where Sartan puts on the Michael Myers mask. I don't get that in Halloween Kills. I get a completely gaff-free movie in regards to that type of crap. I mean, there's going to be things that you nitpick here and there, but there's nothing that's that actually pisses you off more than the fact that somebody else put on Michael's mask. I just thought that was utterly ridiculous, to be honest with you. I thought the Doctor was dumb. I think they did the Doctor entirely to make it to kind of tell you that the Strodes, it's not about the Strodes. They
needed that subplot to do it.
But I don't think they need to have him put on the mask. I thought that was
stupid.
That was really stupid. When he came up and this big fat guy who's got this mask on, you're like, all right, this is just dumb. And I think that, it hurt the mask. The stock went down for me, even though I have it right over there. That's the 2018 one. I love the 2018 mask. I just hate that Sartan wore it at any point. So I'll say, Kills is definitely 2 for me. I don't think anything. Kills, I thought, was the one thing that had a shot to beat the number 1. I just think number 1 is just a classic that is timeless. If you can watch a movie that came out in 78 anytime, anywhere, at any time, any place, doesn't matter if it's Halloween or Christmas or January 1st, you know what I mean? That's something that really tells you something there about a movie and it's, the watchability. And on top of that, I'm a horror fan that actually, doesn't mind gore. There are people that like horror, but oh, not too gory. For me, my 2 of the movies I would say are absolute masterpieces that were made in the 70s. You have the 74 Texas Chainsaw Massacre with no gore, and you have the 78 Halloween with there's blood that spews out in the car, but they use it as more of a transition in the next scene than they do trying to be like, hey, this is blood.
Yeah.
Be scared, And I just thought it was done extremely well. And John Carpenter's score on it is just,
it's timeless.
I love that John Carpenter did the score in this trilogy as well. I think he just somehow continues to get better.
He does.
He's finding these sounds that I've quite honestly never heard. Like I said, if anybody can find me what song is playing at the end when he kills Karen, please let me know. Because I don't know what song that is.
Was it not on the Halloween Kills soundtrack?
Went through the entire soundtrack. I think it might have looped a part of Unkillable, which is the one that they leaked early on.
They might have done that.
But it's not a true standalone song. But it is exactly how it should be, because it gives you that kind of sense of, okay, everything's good. My character I wanted to live lived. And then there's this eerie music, and then they're like, "Oh no, Karen, you're in the window. Why are you in the window? Stop being in the window!" And then it's like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I can't even I don't remember the exact tune of it, but if I heard it, it was.
Okay? So after Unkillable, there's Payback, Michael's Legend, and then the end titles.
It would only be in a fraction of Unkillable. There's a quick. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I very much like it. And I just like that they have the guitar and the bow. I think it works very well. It's it's like you haven't heard that. They're creating music you've never heard, just like the original. And I think that's the big thing there for me. And there's a lot of great composers, especially in horror. I feel like some of those are the best soundtracks. They have to be, because if you think about it, you watch Halloween Kills with no sound on, that thing wouldn't startle you at all.
Yeah.
You know? But some of those moments, man, and also, by the way, they use, everyone does it to a degree, but they do a great job of using the score to kind of warn you what's coming.
Yeah.
Because before he goes on that rampage at the end, just kills 6 people with swipes and stuff. before that happens, you can hear the notes. They're starting to kind of, turn down a little bit. So it's like, okay, everything all is well and all that. And then all of a sudden it goes, and just like, and just like, the whole, like, it's just a battle at that point.
Yes.
But I just think they do such a great job with it. I thought it was a very well composed, soundtrack. I thought it was a great job putting together a great cast. I thought the cast was great. Lindsay is alive, by the way. We didn't mention that, but she is alive for the next one. I don't know how much of a role she'll play. It is interesting, though, they kept her alive of everyone else, including Tommy, for that matter. I am kind of glad he got hit with a baseball bat. I was kind of tired of him, Mr. Tough Guy with a baseball bat.
I did appreciate that too. Yes.
But
I did I liked Tommy. I don't pretend I didn't. I thought he was all right.
I thought he got a little. They like overplayed that like tough guy at the local.
Yeah,
bar,
I can agree with that.
And for those people that are out there that are tough guy at the local bar, I love you. It's not you, it's me. That type of deal. It's just I think Tommy did it. It's not that. I don't think the actor himself did it in a way that made it annoying. I think they just made his character annoying on purpose, because I think the point was that he got out of control with it. And on top of it, he's such a leader, and yet he allowed the two kids. The two kids are with Lonnie.
Yeah.
Like oh yeah, guys. We got the two kids with the guy that one time he saw Michael Myers and
he went into the armadillo position.
Yeah, like it's like, and then he lied about going onto his into the house. So it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy I want to be chaperoning our kids. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a little ridiculous. I don't know why they split up. I do know why they split up. It made it easier for the shots to be made.
Correct.
And just those scenes. But yeah, I would definitely say at the end of the day, though, this is a really good film. If you haven't seen it and we spoiled it for you, that's your fault. I literally said over and over again. I even put it in the thing, spoiler, recapping. But I'm sorry if we did spoil it for you. If not, if you're just now tuning in, go and watch it. Like, just do it right now. It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock, which
is really cool. And I thought that was a great thing that they did, because I know everyone's obsessed with just theater only, but it was cool to be able to see this thing 4 or 5 times, however many times I've seen it now.
It still grossed $50 million in its opening weekend. So
I know it's impressive. Horror's back, baby. We've been waiting for a slasher like this for a minute now.
A little bit of a slasher revolution. So hopefully we're getting Scream 5 too, which is going to be good, I do believe.
I mean, I will say Malignant was like I don't want to give too much away. It was kind of like a slasher, though, at the end of the day. So that was a good one. But for the most part, man, and I mean, you can like them. I'm not knocking you for liking them, but I feel like everyone's just so trapped in this paranormal demon type of territory where it's like that stuff after a while just is so cookie cutter. It's repetitive.
Yes, very much.
And I just
they're making another Paranormal Activity.
I just don't like those movies. They don't do anything for me. The Conjuring, I thought, did a really nice job. They had good casting. They have some cool stories. The fact it's based on a true story,
quote unquote.
That's why I did the quote unquote. But I do enjoy The Conjuring. I know there are a lot of horror fans that don't like it because it went mainstream, but then we'll say Halloween's great, and Halloween's as mainstream as it gets.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I will say that I prefer the old school slasher films. And if you're going to make them in the modern day, make them gruesome, make them unforgivable. The way, they did this movie, and I thought they did it well. And the most enjoyable part of this is knowing how much work they clearly put into it and how much they respected the franchise. Those are the final words I will say about this movie, because we've talked for a while about it.
We have.
I will say I was so excited for this show. It has not, it's definitely lived up to the expectations I had on this podcast, but those are the final words I'll say. You can tell these people handled this thing with care, and they didn't do anything stupid. Sartain was dumb in the first one. That's the only dumb thing I really hated about anything in this movie series so far. Cannot wait for Halloween Ends.
I'm very excited. So we get that almost to the day that Halloween Kills came out. October 14th of 2022 is the set release date for that. They're starting filming the movie January 10th. So, excuse me, soon enough we'll be getting Halloween Ends. So we just got to wait a little bit less than a year now.
Yeah. And well, how about Halloween in Chicago? Chicago is nearby. Maybe that's definitely an idea for him to go to Chicago and wreak havoc in the city. That would be something. And then, do you think Paul Rudd would have done better? It's not the same. I don't think he would have played that role better than
Absolutely not.
I mean, that's just not his acting. You know, he's not the fake tough guy at a bar actor.
No, he's like, I don't know, Diet Ryan Reynolds almost.
He's great though. I love him.
He's great. I love Paul Rudd.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. I don't have a clue what we'll be covering on our next episode. Maybe we'll cover not Halloween, but the horror movie album by Ice Nine Kills, Horrorwood. See if we can try and get somebody on here that might be able to help us do that. Maybe we could talk about, I don't know, anything. Maybe we'll do a poll.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you
we should do that maybe do a poll on Twitter or something. I'm down for talking about Welcome to Horrorwood, though. You know how much I love Ice Nine Kills. That would be fun.
Yeah. The only problem is we can't play any of it because
I know. Yeah.
That would be so cool if we could just play like 15-second sound bites and be like, yeah, this is the song about cabin fever. Like, just kind of breaking it down. Man, that would be great. But unfortunately, I don't think we can do that. Maybe I'll look into that. Maybe if we can, it's not a big deal if it's a demonetized video. It's a matter of, would this video get blocked? Yeah. So if it does,
I feel like there should be like a certain amount of time of each song that we're allowed to play without it becoming an issue.
I think if anything, it just helps them out because it's just pointing new people to their music. But check them out. Ice Nine Kills, Welcome to Horrorwood. It is the Silver Scream 2. It does not disappoint. And if you like that, Silver Scream 1 has a Halloween song called Stabbing in the Dark.
And
I recommend it.
And if you go watch the music video, Stabbing in the Dark, the music video is just a Halloween fan film. Yes. Go watch that too. It's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and he is Jarrett Bailey. This is episode 2 of the Devil's Eyes podcast. We are closing the book on Halloween Kills. We will revisit this. We'll revisit Halloween Ends when it comes out next year. Until next time, guys, we will see you guys soon. And you guys have a good one.